Alright, new championship, first race. This is the V8's Corsa mod in Assetto Corsa. And it's the first race of the AK Super 2 Championship. So it's basically the second tier of their V8 series. And there's about 33 cars on the grid here. We've got a mix of new guys and some faster guys as well that are a bit more experienced. So this is a look at the calendar. 50 laps here at Adelaide we've got to do with one mandatory pit stop. Got to take tyres. We can do what we want with fuel. And then for the endurance races, the main grid and Super 2 will be combined. So there'll be driver swaps with your teammate. And those races are obviously a lot longer. With the Bathurst race, we're going for the full Bathurst 1000. So 161 laps around there, splitting that with your teammate. So here's the qualifying results. I managed to get second in the Kmart car. And my teammate was in 6th place on the third row there in the other Kmart car. And he did the most laps in qualifying. He was able to get 10 laps in. But the quickest was Birchall in the Caltex Havoline car with a 1:23.9. And then I was in second with a 1:24.4. Then we've got Munro, the only Nissan in the top 10. Followed by Davies in the Red Bull car. Also his teammate in the other Red Bull car is McLaughlin. And he got 7th place there, so both of those cars in the top 10. And Birchall's teammate Nichols, he's actually a pretty quick guy, but he's qualified in 8th place. And then we've got Simmons in the old DJR livery, and Dossett rounding out the top 10. A few surprises was the two Jack Daniels Nissans, both outside the top 10 after practice. I thought they would be a little bit quicker, but they're in 12th and 13th. And then further down we've got the two Xbox cars, and then sandwiched in between them is Newman. Now I know Newman's done a bit of online racing with the F1 games, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. And Hubbard and Brister in the Xbox cars. Not the best qualifying for them, but I'm sure they're gonna give it their best. And then out the back, just got a couple of the Star Wars cars, and basically a Kangaroo Valley down here of drivers, with 33 of them entering this race. Now let's see what happens at turn 1 here. Turn 1 at Adelaide, always a bit stressful. Birchall got a very good start off the line. Here's McLaughlin. So I've lost a bit of time to Birchall already by turn 1. He got a very good start. Looks like the first few guys are actually pretty good through there. Birchall, Munro. And then it kind of stacks up here. Look at this, bit of an incident. It's absolute Kangaroo Valley down there. And unfortunately it looks like the Dunlop cars of Newman and Cunliffe are the worst off. So this is my start. So I got a bit of wheel spin, wasn't the best, and Birchall just absolutely shot away. Turn 1, definitely get worried about punting off there. And Munro's right behind me in 3rd place, and then my teammate Guthrie was able to move up 2 positions to 4th. And the leaders actually hit the wall there, so I don't think I actually noticed that on the first lap there. And it looks like Nichols has got into the Mobile 1 car of Scott as well. Bit further down the pack. Looks like one of the Team Crush cars just edged Harris wide. Turn 1, Birchall's absolutely gone. I'm following him through. My teammate's still in 4th. There's Nichols in the other Caltex car, and the two Jack Daniels Nissans, but there's a Coke car of Rob off in the background there. And that's a huge incident. And one of the Xbox cars has actually been squeezed into the fence. And here's a replay of Munro. After turn 8 he got a pretty good run on me. And I kind of tried to stay wide and let him have it. I knew he had the pace on me. I didn't really want to get caught up, so I just let him past. But this is the incident with the Xbox car. So it looks like he's nudged off there. I think that's Lindsley in the Vortex car. But coming through turn 8, he was absolutely slammed into the wall by I think Martin in the Repco car. So we're on board with Brister, his teammate, who gets to witness that absolute overkill there for Hubbard. Look at that, he's squeezed and then hit straight away. And this is Birchall absolutely pitting the first lap. He must have jumped the start. So I didn't actually realise that, but when he dove into the pits, I pretty much knew he must have had a penalty there. So that puts Munro in the lead. I follow him in behind. And then my teammate Guthrie just a bit further behind in third place. Again, there's the two Jack Daniels Nissans very close to each other. A lot of teammates actually pretty similar in pace. So here's Birchall, so he's driving through for his penalty for jumping the start. He did get a super start as well. And he carries a lot of speed through turn 1, and he's bumped McLaughlin there. So that was for position, and he's just come steaming in and done an absolute headshot on McLaughlin there. Very unfortunate. Look at that. Doesn't look like he was paying attention at all. The damage isn't too bad though when you have contact. It's only on 50% in these races. Obviously there's a lot of newbies basically doing their first league races in Assetto Corsa. So they have put the damage at 50%, but it does mean you can get away with more contact. So here's Newman in the Dunlop Motorsports car. Unfortunately, not the best laps for these guys. They were caught up, probably the worst off in the incident at turn 1. Hopefully they can just get back on track and get a good result for those banana cars. And look at this, another penalty here for this guy, and he's absolutely put it in the fence. He already lost time because he had a penalty, it looks like, and he's hit the fence and lost a position too. So a few pit lane penalties there, jump starts. You know, first race of the season, this is what's going to happen. But still in the first few laps here, it's just incident after incident. Everyone's still running a bit close here, so McLaughlin, after the slam by Birchall, he still managed to regain himself. But I think here we're going to see the Xbox car again in trouble, and we're on board with the Pertec car, and he's going to see his teammate bottle it as well, Mount Franklin style, and they're both involved. The other Vortex car, and also again, looks like Hubbard. He was caught up on turn 8, flipping on his roof, and he's held up again here. Oh, and it looks like Newman as well is going to lose more time in that Dunlop car. Very, very ugly start for those guys. Now here's the hairpin end of the straight. We're definitely going to see some incidents here. You can take different lines through there and it's easy to clip someone. Oh, look at this, Lindsley. So maybe one of the backmarker Kangaroo Valley teams is Vortex there. They seem to be caught up in maybe a lot of incidents already. And check that out, I think that's his teammate who's clipped the inside at the first corner. Can he rejoin? Okay. Oh, the Red Bull car, actually, I think he outbraked himself. And the Jack Daniels, oh, it's really unfortunate. So those Jack Daniels Nissans definitely got the pace, and look at that. Unfortunately, there was no admin for that, so everyone just had to keep going. And this is my teammate Guthrie, so he's got the fast guy trying to get by after taking his penalty. Oh, and they're side by side. One of the Star Wars cars, I think that's Monty there getting caught up. They're actually just getting out of the way. So Guthrie lost a bit of time. So he originally jumped up to third, Guthrie, after Birchall took his penalty. Birchall's easily got the pace on him, and that's Monty again, the Star Wars car. Now that's a big hit at turn 8, and he's stopped in the middle here. Yeah, I didn't think that was going to end well. Everyone seemed to get through alright at the start. And this is the Xbox car getting into the Red Bull Commodore. So there's a few familiar names and faces here getting the bad luck at the start of this race, and a lot of chaos. Absolutely a lot of chaos already. This is me exiting onto the main straight here. And it's lap 5, and I'm just going to clip the inside wall, and it's going to send me straight to the outside. And unfortunately, there goes my teammate. Everyone else follows through. There it is again. So lap 5, I was running in second place there, and that's actually going to put me on my roof. And in Assetto Corsa, that will teleport you back to the pits. You'll have to do the lap again. So that will mean that I actually went back to 27th. So not a great start for me. Some people had some big hits at turn 8, but since they didn't flip over, they were able to keep going just with a bit of damage. But unfortunately I did lose a whole lap here to my teammate. So I came out of the pits right behind him, but a lap down. Now I thought, right, what I'll just do is basically follow my teammate around, and as he overtook lapped cars, maybe I could make some positions. Because I should be overtaking the cars that he's lapping. This looks like a Pooley clipping another Dunlop car. I think that's Cunliffe at the hairpin. I think that's Birchall there doing a bit of lap traffic management. Oh, another big hit at turn 8. And just avoided by his teammate. But looks like he's carrying on. That's Ferguson there in the Nissan, going a bit wide. So I've got my teammate in front of me who's a lap ahead. I can't really go for an overtake. Our pace is pretty similar though. So he's just getting one of the Dunlop cars. And I should be making a position on Cunliffe there. So that's my strategy at the moment, just sticking behind Guthrie. I should be able to make some positions. But here's Nichols, so he's actually on the same lap as Guthrie. And when I've come out of the pits, I'm basically right in between them. And Nichols is just going to catch up to me here. Now, I don't know if Nichols knew that I was a lap down here, because before I went off at turn 8, both me and my teammate Guthrie were in front of him, so he's still got 2 Kmart cars in front of him, you know, as far as he's concerned. But I am getting blue flags now, and I probably should have let him past. But I was able to play the team game here and just let Guthrie get away a bit. Don't know if you'd get away with that later on in the season, but first race, I mean, everyone's just trying to get around, do the best they can. And my pace is pretty similar to these guys. So it's only once Guthrie starts to skip away a bit that I do actually hold Nichols up. Coming up to turn 8 again here on board with Nichols. It's always a scary corner. And doing it 50 times is pretty hard as well. Deep braking zone down into the hairpin. And a bit of a slip under the throttle from Nichols, so that's very easy to do. And looks like he just wants to get a bit closer to me and he's pushing. Now you can see Guthrie is actually skipping away. And I'm out on the grass there. Trail break into the corner though. And now Nichols has actually caught that time up again. So at this point I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going to have to let him by at some point. But I did feel an obligation too, because I'm on voice chat with my teammate, and it would feel rude if I just let Nichols pass too easily. Because it does seem like Nichols may be a bit faster than I am at the moment. For some people it's easier if you're chasing someone. Other people drive faster if they're chasing someone down. I definitely don't like having someone behind me like this. So here we go, going into turn 8. What am I doing out there on the right? So I've gone in very slow through there and I've just let him past. And I think I let my teammate know over voice chat that, sorry mate, couldn't hold him up any longer. But look at that, Nichols. So he outbraked himself and it's let me back past again. So at some point we're going to have to do that all again. So again, turn one. There goes one of the banana cars. And it looks like everyone gets through okay. Oh no, that's Ferguson up there. He's absolutely bottled it. Another Mount Franklin there. So here we are on board with me and then teammate Guthrie there. Just got a little bit of pace on me. Seemed like Guthrie struggled in the first few laps. And then he sort of found his rhythm now. It's hard getting you braking into these last few turns. So he's a bit further back in the pack. This is Davies here, who actually qualified really well, and that's Birchall again running into the fence. It's the second time he's done that at that corner. A few more Kangaroo Valley drivers trying to make it through turn 8 here. Yeah, looks like they make it through okay. This is Martin in the Repco car. Also qualified well, but a few of the guys in the top 10 actually have slipped down quite a bit in the first 10 laps. And look at that, another guy losing it under throttle. And that's going to let both the banana cars through there. Now Nichols actually got past me at the hairpin here, but I'm being punted off by Pooley. I actually didn't lose any time there, but Pooley actually hurt himself on that one. And so now people have actually started to come into the pits, and the leaders have already picked up left traffic, so there's cars everywhere. The difference in pace is huge. You can make up a lot of time over 50 laps if you manage to get through traffic okay, overtake at the right time. And here's the two Xbox cars, so they qualified down in 23rd and 25th, and they've had nothing but trouble really since the start of the race. So the best thing for them is to just follow each other around, not hassle each other too much. That's Brister in the front there, and he's getting a bit of a hurry up by his teammate Hubbard, who actually looks a little bit quicker than Brister at the moment. Looks like one of the Penrite cars, that's Harris, he's definitely a bit quicker. He's going to sneak between them. So everything's all a bit jumbled up here. Definitely some of the faster guys fell back at the start. And a couple of guys have taken pit stops, drive-through penalties. So there's cars all over the place. Oh, and Hubbard's actually gone into Brister there. Done a bit of synchronised swimming. And one of the Team Crush cars just gets through. One of the Red Bull cars again. Yeah, that's really unfortunate. So those guys just should have been following each other through, making easy laps, and look, taking each other out quite early on. Well, that one's kind of on Hubbard. I think he dove down there. That's what happens. And here's another one, the Nissan on one of the Red Bull cars. And it's just a lap later and the Xbox car gets caught up again. So really unfortunate for the Xbox cars, the Dunlop Banana cars, and also the Red Bull cars. Now I'm starting to come up on some traffic here, but it is for position. So my teammate Guthrie has skipped ahead a bit. And I think this is Foley in one of the old DJR Shell liveries. And I remember this guy being quite hard to pass. He was definitely a defensive driver. And I think the Dunlop Banana car in front of me is actually a lap down. But I've gotten that position there on Foley. And I'm actually going to come into the pits this lap. So it's one mandatory pit stop. You've got to take tyres. You can do what you want with fuel. So the tyres do take quite some time. But you can get a bit of fuel in during the time it takes to do the tyres. I think we're going to see one of the Red Bull cars here exiting the pits. And look at that, too early on the throttle, too much throttle. And he's bottled it again, another Mount Franklin on the board. And there's me done. So heading back out, that's lap 31, pit stop done. And at this point I've worked my way back up into about 15th place. So after coming down from 27th, a few other people have had incidents and also pitted. And behind my teammate Guthrie, I was able to make some good time as well. The hairpin, big difference in pace, cars going everywhere. Everyone's got a bit of damage at this point, I think. Even Birchall, the guy in the lead. Hit the wall twice at turn 3. These guys going into turn 8, that's Foley and Ferguson. And he's just backed out of it, I was very lucky. Again, here's Hubbard in the Master Chief Xbox livery here. He's got Birchall behind him, looking to make some traffic. And Hubbard's just going to hold Munro up a little bit here. And he's giving him the hurry up. And again, one of the Xbox cars, Hubbard, in a bad spot, losing a lot of time. They're going to have to move on to the next race of the season, I think, for a better result. Here we are following Nichols. Turn 8 again, let's see how people get through there, alright. So this is Honor in the Pepsi Max entry. And again, too much throttle, bit of oversteer. Some more guys exiting the pits. And he's actually got up on the curb there on the exit. Here's Nichols coming through to lap them. And he's just gone straight ahead. And another headshot there on, I think, Martin in the Repco entry. So there's Nichols going through, and that Pep, he didn't slow down at all. He did have Birchall coming through. Maybe he thought he got a bit of pressure from behind with the leader coming through to lap him. But again, still a very dangerous track. And, you know, first race of the year. Everyone's going to be a bit nervous. These things are going to happen. Gives everyone just a chance to learn, get it out of their system. But every position does mean points at the end of the day. And there's one of the Penrite cars, big lock up into the hairpin. And look at those Jack Daniels Nissans, still very close in the last few laps here. So there we go, Foley on the Falcon coming through, and the two Jack Daniels Nissans. Nice view here of the final corner. Very tough corner. And this is me actually getting punted off by Lowe in the Coke entry. So that was very disappointing. I actually think I would have... well, I think I could have re-entered a bit better there because I've hurt the Jack Daniels Nissan quite severely. I just sort of gassed it up, got back on the track. I'm not sure if I put in a steward's report for that one on Lowe, but hey, it's in the past now. So here it is again. He's locked up. He's come in very hot. He's just taken me out. He was not going to make that corner at all. And this is him just a lap later, I think. So let's see what happens here. Low in the 11 Coke Commodore, and he's hit the outside wall. Doesn't look like he's hurt the Jack Daniels car there, just himself. Few shots at the first corner. Here's Birchall in the lead. I think he's again taking over some lap traffic. This is Lindsley in one of the Vortex cars. Again, we've seen a couple of guys do that so far. One of the teams not having the best run here at Adelaide, and he's been clipped by the Pepsi Max entry. This is Harris in the Penrite car. I remember I had a good battle with this guy, but again I think we were on different laps. And for a while I was holding him up. We were basically racing like we're on the same lap. But I wouldn't do that these days. I'd basically obey blue flags as required. But at the same time, you don't want to hold each other up. You both want to go at the same pace. Try and make time on all the other people you're racing. But it feels good when there's someone of your same pace right in front of you or behind you, and you're not worried about battling each other. You can just sort of focus on your lines, focus on being close to someone. And over 50 laps, the longer races, definitely you do have to learn to try and make each lap as quick as possible. It's easy just to be a bit too conservative, especially when you're trying to take it easy, avoid incidents. But at the end of the day, you are going to be racing the guys closest to you, and it is going to be close. So you've got to make sure your pit stop is right. You don't make a mistake. You can get a drive-through for speeding in the pits, so you want to watch that. Too many cut tracks and you'll get a penalty as well. But at the same time, over 50 laps, you could make up a few places just by being on the limit. It's much easier to go quicker for me, I think, if there's someone to follow or other cars around you that are also on the same pace. Otherwise, you just sort of go in cruise Miss Daisy mode, and you can lose seconds quite easily. Oh, and I've clipped the wall there. Still, much rather clip the wall than go so slow that I lose 2 seconds a lap. And one of the Pertec cars, absolutely no braking, gone in hot. People starting to lose focus here in the final laps. Everyone else getting through okay. Oh, and that's Nichols actually clipped the inside wall. That sent him to the outside. Perhaps the Pertec car distracted him. What have we got here? Oh, lock up on one of the Vortex cars. Probably a bit too much rear braking bias on that entry. Here's Hubbard. He's been in the walls today, absolutely. But it looks like he is racing the banana car for position. So here's Green in the Nissan, Jack Daniels. Didn't have the best qualifying, and again, bit of a lock up there. Looks like too much rear braking bias into the heavy braking zone there at the hairpin. So catching a few people out. Probably also a bit of worn tyres, and combined, that's what you get. And look at his teammates come up behind him now, together again. That's Taylor and the other Jack Daniels Nissan. And look at that, his tyres must be absolutely shot. He's all over the place. He's got Munro there coming up behind him. And Munro actually gets through on him. So a few of the Nissans looking a bit squirrely. Oh, and again he's lost it, Green. So he's definitely one of the quickest guys. But in the race, just doesn't have the craft to be up there. We'll see how he finishes at the end though, but he's definitely had some incidents. Now, I sort of like the car when it's been on the tyres for a while. Oh, here we go. Do I really? I don't actually remember spinning out at that point of the race. That's really unfortunate. How's the rejoin? Spin it around, check the traffic. Make sure no one's there. That was pretty lucky. Definitely those tyres mustn't be the best. I was definitely pushing really hard, trying to make up as many places as I could. And at this point, I've got McLaughlin in the Red Bull car in front. And I'm just trying to chase him down. He's in 9th place, and at this point, I've worked my way up to 10th. And there we go. We see the Nissans coming through, who were getting squirrely before. but they're actually a lap down on me. Except for Munro. So these two Nissans definitely going at each other. I think this is for position. And we know the tyres aren't doing very good. Oh, Munro definitely squirrely on the rears. So there's a few guys that are pretty good when the tyres are fresh, fuel loads are higher. And then some guys like to do a bit of Tokyo drift around when the car's low on fuel, degraded tyres. So the strengths and weaknesses of the different drivers tend to show up throughout the race. Oh, and looks like he's off again. And he's collected by Munro. That's really, really unfortunate. So just a few laps to the end. Looks like I've hit the outside wall as well. Let's see what happened here. So Green's actually lost it. He's bottled it Mount Franklin style onto the curb, into the wall, and then collected by Munro. So yeah, it doesn't look like Munro's too happy about that. This is Simmons coming through in the DJR livery. He qualified in 9th place. Oh, and that's again one of the banana cars in the Master Chief entry. Getting into each other, trying to go too wide through there is not ideal. So again, it's the Kangaroo Valley cars at the back, getting into all the trouble. So wrapping it up now, one of the last times through turn 8. Foley in the DJR livery, he's had a horrible race as well. So this is Guthrie, he's in 2nd place, and he's just been very consistent. After myself and Munro crashed out due to incidents, he's basically going to take that 2nd place there. So this is Birchall making his final lap, and he did have a jump start and a penalty on the first lap, but he definitely had the pace on the rest of the field, and he's easily going to win this one with quite a big margin. I think my teammate Guthrie is in 2nd place, so he, through consistency and keeping out of the incidents, is able to take 2nd place. And here we go, a few of the finishes now starting to come through. The Team Crush cars and the Master Chief entry. 351 entry of Brister. We've got one of the Team Vortex cars. They've had a hard day, the Banana entry of Cunliffe and the Dunlop Motorsports entry. The Red Bull Commodores again caught up in quite a lot of incidents. There's Guthrie coming through in 2nd place. The Penrite cars, they looked quick. And the Coke cars getting caught up in a few incidents. Here's Hubbard. Tough day at the office for Hubbard there in the Master Chief entry. Ferguson in the yellow car sales Nissan. He actually finishes in 22nd place, so lost a lot of positions from his qualifying result. Davies in the Red Bull car finished in 7th place, and his teammate in 9th. So still both Red Bull cars finishing in the top 10, even with all the carnage they got caught up in. There's the results. Harris gets a podium in the Penrite cars, that's very good for him. Spencer in 4th in the Team Crush car, followed by Nichols in 5th. Not a bad effort from him, qualified in 8th place. Dossett in the other Team Crush car, again 2 top 10s for them. Honor in the Pepsi Max car in 8th place. I managed to just sneak out a top 10 result after bottling it Mount Franklin style at turn 8 on the 5th lap. So I was disappointed by that, but it was good fun battling through, making up positions. Because I actually came out in 27th place, so I ended up making up 17 positions in about 44 laps, so not a bad effort. If you have an incident like that, you go a lap down. If you don't finish in the top 10, you're just going to feel horrible about it. But I was able to make it back. and the points will matter at the end of the day. A few guys at the back we're keeping an eye on. There's Newman finished in 20th place, so he did make up a few positions from his qualifying, and not a bad effort from him in the Dunlop banana car there for his first Assetto Corsa league race, and his F1 experience is paying off. Another surprise is Webster in the sister Pepsi Max car, so he finished down in 26th place, only completing 25 laps. I know he used to drive in the main AK grid, so very surprising that he didn't have a good result. Must have been something he got caught up in to be 25 laps down. But for now we move on to round 2. We'll be back with 40 laps of the Albert Park circuit. Kmart Motorsport 1-2 for the championship.